Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. How is everybody tonight? Hope you're all well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Let's say hello to those in the chat. Good evening, Roger. Hello, Mystical Unicorn Painting. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So then, we're going to take a look at another roleplay system. And tonight's game, but my technology is just failing in front of me. Okay, there we go. Tonight's game is Fallout from MODIPHIUS Entertainment. Fallout, of course, based on the very, very popular PC video game. So if you are familiar with that, you are really going to enjoy tonight's show. Okay, before we get started, usual caveat for any of these role-playing game system deep dives. I am no role-playing game expert. I played RPGs back in my college days, the likes of Dungeons and Dragons, of course, and so it's been many years since I actually played an RPG. So coming back to the scene, I am taking a look at all the many games that are available now and kind of relearning all about them. And so this is a good opportunity. This series of videos is for those who are new to role-playing games. You get to see the game just like I do from a beginner's perspective, as we just basically go through the book and see what it has to offer. Okay, Mystical, are you all set and ready to join me? Yep, alright, let's bring you on in then.
Hello.
Good evening. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How was your weekend?
It was really good.
Anything RPG related you want to tell us?
I saw the D&D movie.
You saw the so we're going to be looking at a sci-fi RPG, but let's go back to the fantasy and the sort of the most iconic of all roleplay games, Dungeons and Dragons. Did you enjoy it?
It was so good.
Yeah.
I want to see it again so badly.
Oh right, okay. Well, that's certainly merit then for that movie. Okay, well, we'll certainly have to check it out. Did it include oh gosh, a mimic? Was there a mimic in it?
Yes, there was.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Good stuff. I know he's definitely an owlbear in it. There's always an owlbear, so that's cool. Right, okay, let's go to the table and let's see what we've got. Okay, so what I have in front of me here are essentially the two sort of main games, which is of course the starter set for the Fallout role-playing game, and then I have the core rulebook. And we looked at the John Carter of Mars last week, didn't we? And we were overwhelmed by the amount of information that was available to both players and games masters just in the core book. This is a similar situation. This is the core book. My goodness, it is heavy. And hopefully you can see here, we have 429 pages of content. There is so much stuff in here, but it is all fantastic. If you are a fan of Fallout, then this is just going to be an absolute joy for you. But what we're going to do initially, where we couldn't do this last week with the John Carter, is we're going to take a look at the starter set. Because the great thing about starter sets is it's an abridged version of what we've got here. And it gives us all the important information, but trimmed down. Plus some nice extras in there as well. So let's just put that to one side. Let's take a look. Straight away, I love the cover designs on these. If you are familiar with the video game, then of course you understand what this front of the box is all about. Have you played Fallout? Should ask that. That should be a good question. And you haven't.
No, but my husband has.
Right. Okay. And is he excited about this game?
He has thought about getting this game a few times, so he was like, "Ooh, yes."
I can well imagine. Yes. I ploughed many hours, stroke days, stroke weeks into playing Fallout. I was a big fan of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. They were just really great. So, okay, let's put that to there. Let's put that there. All right, what have we got? First of all, we have awesome pack of dice. Now, this uses MODIPHIUS's 2d20 system, which we learnt a little bit about last time with John Carter, and again we're going to explore other games done by MODIPHIUS which will use that same system, so the more games we look at, the more used to it we are going to be. So straight away, and let's jump camera here, we do have two great chunky D20s, which are custom dice, which have nice little symbols on. We then have an awesome dice here, all for body parts. One of the great things about the Fallout video game is that you can target individual areas of a body. And so this dice represents that. And then we have some D6s which show us successes. We have our little vault dweller guy. Okay. Well, before we look through the actual rulebook, let's take a look at some of the extras that are in the pack. We do have some pre-made character sheets, which will be appropriate to the mission within the pack. So this, of course, is great to be able to see, well, just actually how to fill out your character sheet. Always handy. And we have different items. We got some perks and traits. We have a biography there, so we know a little bit about the character. So just taking a look, not to spoil too much, but we have a vault dweller, we have a survivor, we have a ghoul, a super mutant, a Brotherhood or initiate, and then a Mr. Handy droid. Again, fans of the video game will know exactly who Mr. Handy is, which is quite cool. And then on top of all that, which I thought is great, is we've got a whole load of Nuka-Cola bottle caps. These, of course, are the currency within the video game, and highly sought after. So I think that's quite cool. We have the adventure, Once Upon a Time in the Wasteland. And we don't want to go through this because we don't want to ruin it, but we got 60 pages of the adventure here, all nicely laid out. These are semi-glossy pages, nicely good quality. The sort of layout, very easy to read. It's a relatively large font, which makes it easy. There's nice little call-out boxes for pertinent information. And one thing that you'll recognize as we go through this is the artwork is stunning. It's absolutely amazing. I believe it is all concept art from the developers of the video game, because of course when they're creating these games they create so much artwork.
So pretty. It's just stunning.
It is nice, isn't it? We'll understand a little bit about what Fallout is as soon as we go into the core rules. So this is the rule book. So I said that the core rules here is just shy of 500 pages. Well, here we go. We have the rule book, and it condenses down to a very manageable 53 pages. So, so this is what we want to look at tonight.
Oh my gosh. It makes you wonder, like, what are they leaving out that they decided, yeah, you don't really need to know that to just, like, play the game. But we're going to put it in there anyways.
It's all of the world. It's all the world. It's all the weapons. It's all the equipment. And we will go and take a look at the core book, but we'll be able to flick through it relatively quickly because this will deal with everything you need to actually start playing the game and creating your characters. But then, of course, the core book does go through the world in so much detail, which is great. Again, as we've sort of recognized with all of these role-playing systems, if you are a fan of the source material, getting a role-playing game is a great way to go, isn't it? Because it just everything you have all that information all collated in one book. It's really, really cool. So if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings or John Carter of Mars or Fallout or any of these other sort of properties that are out there, then a role-playing game is obviously a very, very good way of enjoying your fandom, I guess. Okay, so let me make sure that I've got everything set up to be able to go and take a look. Interesting point that, of course, whenever you purchase either the core game or the starter set from Modiphius, I do believe you get the digital PDF along with that purchase when it's bought from their store, or I think there's a code at the back of the book so you're able to download it, which of course is very, very handy. So we will we'll take a look at the digital version now. So let me just set that up. Okay, I think this is good. Yay, there we go. It's working. Good evening, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. How are you? Hope you're well. All right then. So let's take a look. I have my copy here in front of me. Let's jump on in. So this is, again, what I found interesting. So this breaks down the contents in chapters 1 to 5. Whereas the core book, I'm just going to quickly look here. Chapters 1 to 12. Alright, so there's a fair amount of a jump. I'm just actually trying to see here. Core rules. Combat, yeah. Characters, yes. So it is equipment, survival, then corporations of pre-war America, Vault-Tec, the Commonwealth, rules on games mastering, denizens of the wasteland, and then the actual little campaign, couple of missions. That's what gets cut out. So, yes, it's all the world. It's all the background lore. So jumping on in then. Welcome to the wasteland. So again, especially from a starter set point of view, they of course want to welcome new players, and maybe it is your first time actually playing a role-playing game. So I always find this a really good way to sort of start off these books. Just letting everybody know, well, what is role-playing games, how to set up your first group, what you're going to need to be able to play. But I love how already, as soon as you get into this, how everything is laid out is very Fallout. Again, if you played the game, it's instantly going to be, you're already there, you're in the world. All the information, the graphic design is all spot on to the video game. I love this here. Pick a job that's special to you. I like this is how the game.
That was something my husband asked. Was like, do they still use special? Please tell me they use special. I'm like, yes, they use it.
They do indeed. Yes. So it explains how to be a player and the flow of the game, and then of course how to be the games master, what you need to do to set up your game, and then again, which I find is very good, and I've seen this of course with a lot of these modern role-play games, running a safe game. As we always say, role-playing games are fun for everybody around the table, aren't they? And making sure that everybody's comfortable with the themes that and the events that are going to happen within the game. So you want to make sure that everybody is going to be comfortable with that, making sure that they are happy to play the game you're setting up to play. And it gives you some ideas there, and it does make a reference to go to the core rulebook or to their online web space, where they can give you some guidance on how to run a safe and enjoyable game. And then some advice for running the campaign that is part of the starter set. And then it says, what kind of quests can I have? The list of possible quests you can go on with in Fallout is endless. You could explore the puzzling experiments of Vault-Tec, become mercenaries protecting trade caravans and settlements, find yourself up against the Institute's synth replicas while hiding beneath the ruins, or meet with the mighty Brotherhood of Steel and their advanced technology. And of course,
So cool.
it is, yes, yeah. Actually, I remember when Fallout was a 2D isometric game, and then of course it made the big jump into 3D, and that's what really brought the game to life. And that's the thing, is of course it was a role play style of game, or as a video game. Now of course they've just turned it into an actual role playing game, haven't they? Which is great.
Yeah.
So a cut down introduction, but in essence everything you sort of need to know to sort of get yourself started. And then we jump straight to setting up your characters, and as you pointed out, the special attributes. So each character in Fallout is defined by 7 attributes: strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck, with each attribute having a rank from 4 to 10 or more. And again, this is now goes into the 2d20 system. So whenever you try to attempt a skill test, your special attributes form one part of your target number when you roll a pool of d20s. And this pretty much sort of is this, as a D&D player, is this very familiar in typical
it
sort
is,
of set?
But it's kind of reversed.
Go on. Why is that?
Just in the way, just a way in the way the D20s work. Because in D&D, a 1 is a fail.
Yeah.
But in this game, that's what you want. You want that 1 to come up.
Yes.
So as a D&D, if you were a D&D player and you came into this game, you rolled a 1 and you'd be like, ah, no. And you'd be like, wait, no, that's good. Or you'd roll a 20 and you go, yes, 20. Oh, no, because it's the worst you can roll. So
Yes, you do not want 20s in this game, do you? No, that's true.
But
yeah.
but otherwise, the rolling for like the stats and everything, that is very typical.
Yeah. And these attributes, I mean, they seem... See, again, I'm... I think one of the last game or the last video game RPGs I played probably was Fallout or Skyrim. So they're kind of similar. But is this sort of familiar to D&D as far as, your strength and perception? They all seem... And charisma, they seem quite common attributes, aren't they? Yeah?
Yeah.
So
I mean, even in some of the earlier editions, endurance is something.
Yeah.
As well. So
I just
a
find
lot of this is
it's very cool that they've managed to be able to use sort of what is typical RPG attributes and make it into this special word, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
It's very clever. So we have skills, and we can kind of see typical skill set there, really, isn't it? So a quick summary of them: athletics and big guns and lockpick. There's always lockpick. That's always an ability or a skill in every single game. I feel like I'm missing out in real life because clearly everybody in RPGs knows how to pick a lock. And I need to learn. Sneaking, throwing, piloting. So we got a whole variety there. And as it says, each skill is ranked from 0 to 6, with each rank representing a different degree of training. So you add your skill rank together with your special attribute to get your target number when you make a skill test. Okay, so tagging skills. A few of your skills are tag skills, marking them as areas of expertise. Tag skills increase the chances of critical successes. When you use a tag skill, each d20 that rolls equal or under the skill rank is a critical success, scoring 2 successes instead of 1. And then we have some derived statistics. So carrying weight, so you can become over encumbered. This is where you basically just can't walk in the video game. You just got too much stuff and it's time to start dropping all this loot that you've been picking up in the game. But I think looking at this, it also affects your perception, doesn't it? So, and that being the case, your initiative. So creatures could get the jump on you if you are over encumbered. Bit about defense. Defense statistic is base difficulty of any attacks made against you, based on your agility. And then we have a little bit on damage resistance. Radiation, now of course that plays a big part in this game. Because of course, well, as it is in the title, this is a post-nuclear Holocaust game. We potentially come out from the safety of our vault deep underground to basically find a world that is unrecognizable, and radiation is a huge issue. Saying that though, we could of course be a character that actually has been on the surface for quite some time. So depending on what character you go for. And then we go to perks. And Perks are special bonuses that you can obtain to boost your character's special attributes and skills, giving them a unique edge. We will come back to that because the perks are something that I think are really, really funny and really cool. They're a great element to this game and make it so, so unique. So it then jumps, we're only on to page 14, and we're into the core rules already. And this is where it does explain the 2d20 system. So basically, if we are wanting to do something within the game, so for example, we want to pick a lock, because of course we do. That's the one thing that we always want to do. So we have to choose an attribute and a skill. So let's do this as an example, as we can. So lockpick is perception, isn't it? Opening locks
yeah,
without the key, perception. So choose an attribute and the skill. So the Games Master chooses which attribute and skill from your character sheets are appropriate for the test. Add together the attribute and the skill chosen. This is your target number for each d20. You can suggest which attribute plus skill might apply, but the GM has the final say. Target number is the number each d20 must roll equal to or under to generate one success. So we might have a perception of, because I think we start off with 5s, isn't it? Is it 5s? Yes, because it's 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. So 5s are your average ability. So we might have a 5 of perception, and we might have a 6 of our lock picking skill. So what we are attempting to do then is roll under 11 on a d20. Every time we roll under 11 on those d20s, we get a success. But the Games Master sets the difficulty depending on how difficult the actual task is. And I do like how it does suggest here, picking a simple lock is difficulty 1. Hacking a complex computer or disarming a landmine is a difficulty of 4. You need 4 successes. But maybe, you know, we should be okay with picking that lock, you know, because I guess this would be a skill that we'd probably end up using quite a bit of in the Wasteland, wouldn't we?
Probably.
Yeah, it'd be quite a common thing. I think everybody would learn how to pick locks under those circumstances. So you basically put the dice into your, you know, make up your dice pool, roll your dice, and then check for any successes, and then check your successes against your difficulty, get your result. And that's basically it. And it gives you a nice handy little chart there, the skill test summary, which really helps to sort of communicate exactly the process on essentially any skill test during the course of the game. And I thought that was quite neat. And we'll have to remember that going forward in all the other Modiphius 2d20 system games, because that's all we're going to be doing over and over and over. It'll be other areas around the game that change that are unique to that particular game world, isn't it? But the core mechanic is the same throughout. So in fact, you know, while we're talking about this, I'm going to take a look at one of these characters just so I can find somebody who's got lockpick. There we go. So in fact, here we go. This Augustus Byron, they have a perception of 6 and a lockpick skill of 3. So they would be aiming to roll under 9 to get a success. But they have tagged their lockpick skill. So that being the case, I'm just going to get tagged here. So each d20 that rolls equal or under the skill rank is a critical success. So the skill rank in this instance is a 3. So on a d20, What they're aiming to do is to roll under 9 to get a success, but if they manage to roll under 3, they gain 2 successes. That's really easy, isn't it? As far as how these mechanics...
Not easy.
No, yeah, the actual result side of it, that's difficult. But as far as understanding the system, that's reasonably easy.
Yes. I was like, that is not easy at all.
That's not it. Well, knowing my dice rolls, it wouldn't be easy. I'm just going to quickly roll a d20 here and see what we get.
Oh no.
I know, but I feel like I have to. So, it's 9 or less, isn't it? Let's see.
Yep. What you got?
Oh, would you look at that? There you go. I got a 9. Just. So I got 1 success. Oh, hang on. I've got to do the other one now, haven't I? So I'd be rolling 2 because it is a 2d20 system. So.
Yep. And if you add any action points to buy dice and that,
you could end up rolling more. I got 19, so I got 1 success. Okay.
Which is all you need.
But to do an ordinary lock, yes, that is fine. So.
Yep. That's all you need. So.
Okay. Well, unless of course the Games Master decided that the target number was something greater. Sorry, the difficulty.
An ordinary lock.
Yeah, but an ordinary lock.
It would be, yeah.
I think we'd be fine on that, wouldn't we? Eh?
Yeah, because you would roll your 2, and with 1 success, you get it. If you succeeded again, you'd get an action point to add to the pool.
Yes.
So.
Oh, come on, and tell us a little bit about action points. What are the action points for?
Well, you use them kind of like a currency almost to buy, or to have the ability to roll more d20s, which can get you more successes or possibly more fails.
This is true. This is true.
Depends on how you roll.
Yeah, let's just jump ahead a little bit here, because there you go. We have the section on action points, and as you say, if you manage to accrue action points during your play, you can then use them to basically purchase additional die, all the way up to essentially rolling 5 d20s. But that's going to cost you 6 action points. So you'll have had to have got a reasonable number of successes during the course of the game. And then, of course, you're throwing them all into this one thing, trying to get as many as possible.
But here's the thing: you don't have to accumulate them all, because it's a pool. All the players, for every success a player has that is over and above what they needed, goes into the pool up to 6 points.
Yes.
And everybody has access to it. So it's not so hard to accumulate the action points. It's just a question of, okay, is this where we want to spend them?
Yeah, that can actually be quite an area of discussion, can't it? Because
that's the only thing I'm like, I get the concept, it's cool, but I think it would almost be better off if it was a personal pool, because if I decide that what I want to do, I want to use these things, but somebody else really needed them, and maybe we only had 3, and I decide, I'm going to use the 3 because I think this is worth it, but everyone else doesn't, it could cause some tension.
Yeah, no, I can understand that for sure. Let's go back. We just jumped ahead slightly there. So what do we have? Complications. When attempting a test, each d20 that rolls a 20, see, this is the opposite, causes a complication. A new detail in the scene that makes things more difficult that comes into effect once the test has been resolved. A complication could introduce a new problem, like a gun jamming or breaking a lockpick. It's all about lockpicks. Or it could make a specific skill test more difficult in future.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
which I think is a really cool aspect of it, because maybe it did nothing now, but they use the example of bartering. You're talking with a trader and you roll a 20, and maybe you insulted him, but you didn't think you did. But he's like, no, I want to remember this. I remember this slate, and then when you go back next time, and you're like, hey, and he's like, nope.
Everything's gone up another 50 bottle caps. Yeah. But I like how it does say here, so if the Games Master cannot come up with a complication for you in the scene you're in, the GM can instead gain 1 action point for use later for their non-player characters and creatures. So much like we can accrue action points, so can the GM. I thought that's quite cool. And so we talked about dice pools, difficulty 0 tests, where obviously some actions have got a 0 difficulty, and that being the case, just instantly achieved. Posed tests, gaining assistance from your fellow players, and then tests for the entire group. And then looking at the complication range. So when tests are riskier, the GM can increase the complication range of the test. So typically a complication would trigger on rolling a 20. But if it is a really treacherous task you're trying to do, then 16 or more could see you in a lot of trouble. Going to have to try. Hang on a second. Let's see. We'll just roll these 2 dice. Let's see what we get. Am I going to fall foul of a treacherous test? And this is why, hang on, I don't even quite see. This is why you don't have me on your gaming party.
This is it. You're rolling great for any other game system. For this one, however, the dice have been like, oh, we need to go the other way? Okay, yeah, no, you're going to roll high.
As that famous phrase, every team needs a mascot. That will be me. Okay, maybe we'll just put the dice away to one side and not touch them again. Okay, so we had a quick look at the action points, didn't we? And then we spoke about, of course, the Games Master having their own action points as well, which they can use. And then we have luck. And again, I thought this was interesting. This is maybe a little bit different. So in addition to being one of your attributes, your luck also provides luck points that you can spend to shift the odds in your favor in a number of different ways. When you start each quest with a number of luck points equal to your luck attribute, you can spend luck points to do one of the following options, both during freeform play or your turn in combat. So look at the draw, stacked deck, lucky timing, misfortune. So you may spend a luck point to introduce a helpful fact or detail about the situation you're in, something that you'd have to be lucky to encounter. You could find just the right items or the right kind of ammo while you're scavenging. That makes me think of, you know, the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You know, where they time travel and place all the items, but this is just luck. It's like suddenly, and you're in a situation, it's not working out for you. I'm going to use this luck point, and suddenly behind this potted plant is a key. Who would have known? But I did, because I'm lucky.
Hey, look.
So I thought that was quite cool. A stacked deck. You may spend 1 point of luck before you attempt a skill test to use luck instead of the default attribute used for the test to determine your target number. Obviously, this is only has a real benefit if your luck is higher than the attribute it's replacing, which again, I think that's a cool way of using luck. So you could actually, because when you're setting up your character, maybe you could put loads of points into your luck attribute. But you've got to have those luck points, haven't you? So we'll find out how you regain luck. Lucky timing. So in combat encounter at the start of a round, You may spend 1 luck to interrupt the normal initiative order and take your turn for this round immediately. This counts as your normal turn. It simply allows you to act earlier. And then misfortune, you may spend 1 or more luck points to re-roll dice in the dice pool you roll. So I think these are all really good ways of using luck in the game. They're quite sort of, some of them seem a little quite novel to me, I don't know. But here we go, regaining luck. So you start your quest with a number of luck points equal to your luck attribute. So once you've spent a point, it can't be used again until the games master refreshes them when you reach a milestone in your quest or when you start a new quest. Oh, so that's interesting then. So if you were to put lots of points into your luck, that's the number you start with. So you've kind of, you know, you've got X number of chances, haven't you, during the course of that game?
To use them wisely too. There is strategy to that, and you got to hope that you've planned correctly.
Yeah. Okay, and so after luck, we then go on to non-player characters. So just giving a little bit of information about those, how they are used within the game, and defeating or overcoming NPCs. A little bit about combat there. NPCs reduced to 0 health points are dead unless the attacker chooses otherwise. And that's basically the end of that chapter. And we jump straight into chapter 4, which is combat. So we did speak about initiative, which of course we can use luck to mitigate this and actually jump on in first before anybody else. And your initiative is determined, wasn't it, by your perception? I think it was.
Usually is.
Yeah. Is equal to, so initiative determines how quickly you act in combat. It's equal to your perception and agility, minus any penalties for being over encumbered. Okay, so that will determine the order. So first round begins when the character with the highest initiative goes first, and then each character takes a turn in order of highest to lowest. And as it says, we can use spending luck to act faster. And it goes through various actions. So minor actions: aiming, draw an item, interacting, moving and taking chems. And then major actions of assisting. Go to the page. Assisting, attacking, defending, applying first aid, rallying, readying, sprinting and doing a test. So these are all like typical actions that you would find in most games, wouldn't you?
Yep.
And then making an attack. Again, just breaking this down quite easily. Choosing a weapon and target, attempting the test, determining a hit location. We'll come back to that in a second. And then inflicting damage and reducing your ammunition. So hit locations. So this is quite unique to the Fallout game. There are 6 body parts that you can target as hit locations: head, torso, left arm, left leg, right leg. When you successfully hit an opponent with an attack, you either randomly determine which body part you hit, or hit the body part you choose before you made the test. So,
See, there are called shots in other games that which essentially do the same thing, but you take a penalty usually to it based off of how tricky it would be, right? but I do like this, and this is just you roll to see, you know, where are you gonna hit.
Yeah, there is a piece of equipment, and I hope I get the name right. It's called a Pip-Boy, and you can use this to actually help you target specific locations. So here we go. All Pip-Boy units aid their wearer with the Vault-Tec assisted targeting system, or VATS. When a character equipped with a Pip-Boy makes an attack, they can ignore the normal difficulty increase for targeting a specific hit location. So it hasn't actually mentioned that bit here just yet. Well, in fact, have I gone past it? Let me just double check. If you passed your test, roll a D120 or a hit location to determine the part of the target. Ah, here we go. Choose hit location. You may choose to target a specific part of a target creature or character. This increases the difficulty of the attack by 1. And of course, difficulty is going to be the number of successes, isn't it? So if you're being specific, you're going to have to do greater number of successes. But with the Pip-Boy, you do away with that. So, okay, here we go. Go to that one. Right, let's see what we're going to hit.
Oh no.
I know. This is relatively safe, this one. Oh, it's a left leg. See, that'll stop them from running away. That's always handy.
What I find interesting is you do have that dice, but if you don't have those, like that special set, it does give you a chart to say, hey, if you roll a d20, here's the numbers.
And so here we go.
That if you roll any of these numbers, this is the corresponding of where you hit, which I think is really good, because if you didn't want to buy the dice or you couldn't buy the dice, this is another option of still having that aspect of it in the gameplay.
Absolutely.
You don't just lose it.
The special dice there is an absolute bonus, isn't it? So a 13, I hit a right arm. Yes, you want to be able to do this because it's an integral part of the Fallout experience. And as you rightly point out, if you haven't got access to the custom dice, you can just use an ordinary D20. It talks a little bit about range, close, medium, long, and extreme, which of course these will alter the difficulty of your attack. And then combat dice. So when your attack hits its target, you inflict damage based on the weapon's damage rating. This damage rating is described as combat dice, which is the D6s. So let me just find here. So a 10mm pistol damage. Is that four dice? I think it is. So when you hit, roll all of the d6 for an attack together as a single dice pool and total up the results. This total is the amount of damage you inflict on your target. In addition, any effect symbols, the face showing the Vault Dweller, activates special abilities. I don't think there is a special ability to a 10mm pistol, but we can find out to how we would do, because we always... let's see. Alright, so 4d6. Oh, actually, that's not bad. There you go. I did 5 damage there.
That is surprisingly good.
But for me it is, isn't it? I believe I'm using up all of my dice luck tonight and tomorrow. But thankfully, there's no dice in the game tomorrow. So we should be okay. Okay, so you can increase the number of combat dice you roll to inflict damage with an attack, spending an action point. So we talked about action points before, didn't we? So damage effects. At least damage types. So whether it be physical, energy, radiation, or poison. So of course that was a 10mm pistol. So that's physical. Ballistics. So damage effects. Augment how the damage you inflict to a target is applied. And so here we go. A character that has lost health points. Oh, here we go. Actually, critical hits and injuries. A critical hit occurs whenever a character suffers 5 or more damage in one hit. So I was doing that on the right arm or right leg, wasn't I? You immediately fall
left
prone.
leg, right arm.
Yeah, that's it. You immediately fall prone as your leg gives out under your weight. You can no longer take the sprint action, and the move action is now a major action for you.
Well, that was a good shot.
That was a very good shot. I'm quite happy with that. I'm just let's just go over here. I'm liking the magazine that they've found there. Guns and bullets. Lasers and hunting. Acceptable overkill. That's just too funny. My goodness. $33 for a magazine? That's
I mean...
Inflation, I know, is a problem.
Think about where we are.
Yes, exactly, yes. My goodness. Okay, so, yeah. And basically, when your character is reduced to 0 HP, they suffer an injury to the location struck and then fall prone and start dying. If they suffer a critical hit and are reduced to 0 HP, they suffer 2 injuries. One for the critical hit and one for being reduced to 0 HP. So there's various ways to bring somebody back by administering first aid. And then healing. So healing actions in combat, taking chem or using first aid, stabilizing the dying, regaining health and treating an injury. There's healing robots and stim packs. So, as much as, you know, lots of ways to hurt people, there's lots of ways to bring them back as well, which is helpful. And then that's short term. We then have long-term recovery. So rest and recuperation, food and drink, medical attention. And then just finally, it goes on about zones and distances. Just to give us an idea of how far away things are for difficulties. Again, nice concept artwork from the games. And the great thing about the Fallout game is that Modiphius also do a miniature game set within the Fallout world. So you could actually play your skirmish game and take your miniatures from that and bring it into the role-playing game as well. And of course, you know, vice versa, which is quite cool.
Appealing to the painters again.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, there are miniatures within the Fallout. If you've played the video games, they're so iconic, you're instantly going to recognize them. And that being the case, you know, it's ticking many boxes for you. So, yeah.
Even someone who's not super familiar with it, like I'm not, but you show me that the Vault Boy, and I know where it's from.
Right.
Having, like, knowing nothing else, I know who that is.
I guess Fallout has sort of become a bit of a cultural thing as well, hasn't it? Because there was a tablet game which was it was kind of like a puzzle, a problem game where you're trying to build your vault and put it in little rooms and have everything connected and have your workers basically managing the rooms. And then, of course, you're trying to increase your population. So there's a little bit of social dynamics as various characters hook up with one another. I must have plowed hours into that game. Just this lovely little 2D, like say, puzzle game, essentially. It was very, very, a lot of fun. But again, this was a game that sort of broke past the barriers of, okay, it's a sort of hardcore PC console game. This was actually a game that was available to the masses, on tablet, yeah? Very, very addictive gameplay, which was quite cool. So here we go.
I want to play it now.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was actually called. It was... It was something to do with the vaults. I can't remember the name of it. But you do a search on Android or iOS stores and you'll find it there.
I'm sure I can ask my husband, be like, what was this game? He'll know.
He'll know exactly, yes, because he's playing it. It's on the tablet somewhere, isn't it? Yeah, already pre-installed. I actually did pretty well at it, I think. I had this huge vault. But I love those type of games where it's all sort of resource management. They're a lot of fun. So we get to chapter 5, and this is the perk list. And this chapter has got to be the most Fallout chapter in this entire rules guide, because this is exactly what they do in the game, where they have the Vault Boy basically demonstrating various perks, and it's just, I just love this. I think this is brilliant.
It's so cute.
It is, isn't it? It really is. So we'll take a look at this, and any of these jump out, because of course these are elements that you can add to your character that just makes them a little bit more unique, doesn't it? And gives them an advantage in certain situations. Action boy or girl. When you spend action points to take an additional major action, you do not suffer the increased skill test difficulty. Animal friend. Whenever a creature NPC...
That bunny looks so like, yeah, cool, dude. Oh.
The creature chooses not to attack you, or it may still attack another character if it can target. This is quite cool. Aqua boy and girl. You no longer take radiation damage from swimming in irradiated waters. And then, that's just a little tease. Then you get them all. This is just great. Oh my goodness. Black Widow Lady Killer. The big
little
leagues.
animations beside it are just so cute. They're just so great.
They are brilliant, aren't they? Concentrated fire. Demolitions expert.
Like Can Do. I like Can Do. He's just holding up again, like, look, I found more.
Yeah. I mean, these are great. You got the hacker, but again, and of course, so go on.
The Grim Reaper.
Yes.
Oh, it's so cute.
I like how the hacker, the computer, of course, he has is of that sort of 1950s-ish sort of aesthetic, so it looks quite cool. Massive tape machines taking information into it. Yeah. Life giver. Oh, brilliant. These are just so much fun. Oh, Roger's saying light step. Which one's that one? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Tiptoeing around landmines. Nice one. Moving target.
The medic is good too.
Yes.
And Mr. Sandman.
Yeah. Nerd rage.
Night person. Oh, they're so good.
These are brilliant, aren't they? You like night person as well, Roger? Party boy girl. Yeah, let's party. So, I mean, and they just keep on going. They just keep on going. So this is where, you know, again, we've looked at a few games here. This is a great way of being able to show different sort of character traits, because that's what it sort of breaks down generally across all games, doesn't it? But hey, this is really easy to read, clearly identifiable what each ones are. You can see how it affects your actual attributes, and you've got a great little graphic that instantly helps you sort of understand what it's meant to do. Size matters. I have the biggest gun.
Oh, it's so good. Solar powered is good too. Just yes, soak up the sun. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I think that those are really awesome. I really like all the perks.
Yeah.
And then we go to equipment. And equipment is a huge part of the Fallout experience, because of course you are picking up various weapons and then you are modding those weapons, and you spend most of your time in the game scavenging. So of course it's got to be reflected within the game here. So caps are the currency across North America. The Nuka-Cola caps. And everything is sort of purchased in that currency. So different weapons, we've got big guns, explosive weapons, energy weapons, melee weapons, small guns, throwing and unarmed. And each weapon has a damage rating with its damage effects, its fire rate, its range. Again, this is all within the video game. And then qualities are rules which describe how a weapon operates and how it differs from other weapons. And a whole variety of breakdowns here. Whether it's accurate or close quarters, concealed. Whether it's suppressed or reliable. And then we get to the charts. And yeah, there's just a lot of weapons. So we do have the cost, as we mentioned, and the rarity of the weapons. Some especially rare or effective mods may increase this. So a 0 would seem to be a pretty common item, whereas a 2, or is it the other way around? I'm just trying to...
I'm trying to look and see if it...
I'm trying to find something that's going to be really rare. I think 2 is the rarest. Oh, we have a 3. Yes, we definitely have a 3. There we go. So 3 is going to be rarest. Okay. So we got pistols, combat rifles, and hunting rifles. An Institute laser. A minigun. A handy rock. Switchblades and machetes. A lead pipe. A rolling pin.
You need a cast iron frying pan.
I guess you could swap that in and out, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lead pipe. A tire iron. So yeah, any of those could get swapped out. We then... Oh, too far. Explosives. The ball cap mines and frag mines. Different clothing. Road levers or a vault jumpsuit. But then of course we have the Brotherhood of Steel fatigues. Or the armour. And then as I spoke about before, we got the pit boy there. So anybody who's been in one of the vaults will have one. Or maybe you might find one upon the body of somebody who was once in a vault. And then it doesn't stop there with just weapons and armour and equipment, because it then moves over to food and beverages. And a lot of this, as I say, is in the game because there are abandoned supermarkets, shopping malls that you can go and scavenge from. And so you find your Blamco brand mac and cheese, or your canned dog food. Potato crisps and a noodle cup.
Drops. Not the gumdrop buttons.
Or yum deviled eggs. And
oh
then
my gosh.
Beverages. We got beer and bourbon. We got moonshine. But of course we all just want a bottle of Nuka-Cola.
Yes, Nuka-Cola.
Then we got some chems, which of course help with buffs to various roles. So buff out and jet and mentats and psycho and stimpaks. There's just so much, and it keeps going. We got junk. So these can be sold for bottle caps when you get to an outpost. And then you got the magazines. Again, I love that they've brought this element from the games into the roleplay.
I love that the currency is bottle caps. I always have. It's such a pointless item. Just like if it was a button. It's like you don't think about it. It's just something you would normally toss away or whatever. But now it's like it has a use. It is valuable. It's just out of everything you could have picked. It's so cool.
It's, I suppose, because nobody's making sort of coins anymore, so we just need some sort of circular disc, don't we? And I suppose bottle caps. But then saying that, if this situation happened for us now, would it be ring pulls? You know, because we don't really have. Do we have bottles? We do. I suppose we do, don't we? Yeah. But not.
Well, and think about it. You've got the beer caps that come off of glass bottles. Yeah. Right. But it doesn't have to be. Who says it has to be a round object? And it could be, maybe like if we did something like buttons, the smaller buttons would be a lower currency. You would need more of them, and the big ones were worth more. Like it's there's so much you could do, but you could pick anything. That's true. In just to go back, just because getting ready to start playing this is in Dark Sun. They don't have coins because metal is a commodity. So their coins are actually ceramic pieces that break into 10 pieces called bits.
All right.
So in order, if something is one ceramic piece, you have to have 10 bits. So, but it's just a piece of pottery.
Yeah. That's
because
cool,
it's so easy to make, right? Essentially it's dirt that's been treated. It's everywhere. You can make it easily.
True. Okay, I need you on my team when the apocalypse happens. Then you've obviously got the economy all worked out for post apocalypse days.
Thought about it. I'm stockpiling buttons and clay pieces and sea glass and pebbles. Yes. Everything.
This is the new currency. No, we're still just using coins. No, this is the new currency. But
forget your coins.
Yeah. So we got magazines, and again, like we saw earlier in the guide, magazines were a way of quickly boosting up attributes of your character, and so the fact that they've incorporated them into this is brilliant. And I just thought the titles of these publications are just awesome. So Duck and Cover, and Grognak the Barbarian. We saw Guns and Bullets. Wasteland Survival Guide. So these are very cool items to have, which will help you massively. And then miscellaneous items, the bobby pin. How many bobby pins have I bought in Fallout over the years? So many.
How many have I bought just because I lose them?
Right, yeah.
I swear, you buy this, actually, I have a container it had 100 bobby pins in it, and I think I have 20 in there, and I don't know where they went. I don't know. They just disappear into the abyss.
But bobby pins are actually a small part of a interdimensional portal technology, and that they basically just disappear. You know, they jump dimensions. You just didn't realize that was their true usage. Yeah,
I'm convinced there's only a set number, and they just jump around to whoever is in need of one. Like, oh look, I found one. Here it is. But you can never find the correct amount that you need.
Yes. They only ever made 100, and they move around to different people at any given point. Yeah. So that at 53 pages is it. Because, yes, we are at the end of the rules. And spoilers for 2 upcoming games that we will be taking a look at on the channel. So, having gone through the starter set, let's do a quick look then through the core book, just to basically see the differences, see all the additional material that is in the core book. So let me just swap this over.
Oh, one more page.
Okay. Now, this may go a little slowly because, as I say, there's shy of 500 pages in this book. It is huge. Is that going to come over? Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So, table of contents, we do have, say, more chapters to go through, but it breaks it all down very, very easy for us to be able to see. And we got a little bit of a taster in the starter set, but the core book definitely has some awesome 2-page spreads for the artwork that are very evocative of the setting, really help visually communicate where you are playing. And so we've seen some of this, but again, it's just more call outs, more additional information. This is it's Washington DC, isn't it, down at the bottom there? I think that's where the Fallout 3 was set. And what I like about this... Sorry, go on.
I thought this one took place in Fallout 4. That's what it said, didn't it?
Yes. But the actual that image is of Washington, isn't it? Because you've got the monument there, and that was Fallout 3. But you're right, they are basing this a lot on the Fallout 4 game, which I think is in Boston.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. It's Boston.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Okay. So what I like about this, which again I haven't noticed on other games, up at the top, it basically has, across the 2 pages, you have all of the chapters. And there's a little mark to basically tell you in which chapter you're in. So that as you're sort of flicking through the book, it's very, very easy to work out where you are.
It's very handy.
Yeah, I thought that was quite cool. So, again, we're going over the core rules here, talking about skill tests. And we've gone through quite a lot of this, haven't we? There's just a few more call-outs as we go through. Gives us a little bit more detail from the Games Master's perspective. We're going into combat. Which again, we went through all of this. Being able to target various locations. There you go, Guns and Bullets. Awesome magazine. I highly recommend a subscription. Damage and injury. Various ways to recover. Looking at the environment. Now, here we go. This is somewhere where we've got a little bit extra information here. So, cover, difficult terrain, environment conditions, lighting, mist and fog, rain. Need to just turn the page. Oop, too far. There we go. So this is all new in the core book. When I say new, of course, it's just this is not included in the starter set. As we say, you're getting a more of an abridged version. And then character creation. So this is a huge area that they go into so much more detail. And of course we got our Vault Dweller character. I like the look. The black cat walking across the front of him.
Yeah.
And so, looking at the skills. So if I just double check on this. I just want to try to make my comparisons here. Because I don't believe... Yes, so in the starter set, this area was just the chart, but because we're in the core rules here, we have it breaking down each of these skills into more detail, and of course we have some great graphics to go along with it. So you can see how they everything is sort of more enhanced in the core set. But sometimes it's important, or it's a better road in with a starter set, isn't it? You'll be able to read your way through, get used to the system a little bit, understand what the game is trying to achieve, and then once you've got that understanding, coming to the actual core rule book, you're already, you know, familiar. It's not as daunting.
Yeah. I definitely highly recommend that starter set. Like, get both, but start with that. Just
yes,
go for that first.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I like the survival. Survival's cool. Going on to the perks and talking about character advancement, which we didn't talk about in the starter set. Milestone progression. So here we go. And again, we've spoken about this with other games, but we will be at some point coming back to these game systems and actually creating a character live on the channel. So we will go through this in more detail, but creating a character. So there are essentially 6 steps. You choose your origin, you increase special attributes, you tag skills and buy skill ranks, you choose your first perk, you calculate your derived statistics, and then choose your starting equipment. So we have a variety of different origins. We have a Brotherhood initiate. Must be part of the Brotherhood of Steel. We have a Ghoul. So a necrotic post-human. One of the many ragtag survivors who weren't lucky enough to get into a Vault-Tec facility. Nice. A super mutant. A mutated human forced to evolve through thoughtless experiments by the twisted science of the pre- and post-World War. This is just totally unique and absolutely Fallout. A Mr. Handy from General Atomics International Robot. Robco. So basically, you're a robot, but you're a robot that actually you're playing as a character. He's obviously become quite sort of self-aware, and he's doing his own thing. So very Fallout. A survivor. Oh, too far. There we go. And then, of course, a vault dweller. So you're one of the lucky ones who were safely secured in one of the 122 Vault-Tec facilities deep underground. So those are the various origins. And then doing your special attributes, giving you some suggestions of how to order the point values that you have. Tags and skills, and then perks, and we went through the perks, but again, even the perks, there are some additional ones. So adamantium skeleton, I don't think we saw that one, did we?
No, we didn't.
No.
Just another reason to get the book as well.
There is, isn't it? So we've got even more. This is great. Barbarian. Wow, yeah, so there's just a load more. Cap collector.
Yeah.
It's spot the ones that we didn't see before.
Yeah. Cap collector was in the last one.
Was it? Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, it was down there. But I don't remember seeing, you know, where is it? I just scrolled Blitz. I don't remember seeing that one in the last one.
Cautious nature?
That was in the last one, yep, because he was hiding behind the rock. Yep.
Right.
I don't think daring nature was in the last one.
I'm just looking. Yeah, Dodger.
Yep.
Wasn't. So that's a and dog meat. I've got the two books in front of me now to compare.
Etymologist. Fast metabolism, I don't think was in there either. Fast healing was.
Oh, you've skipped over already. Yes. Okay. So wow, there's so many more perks for you to choose from, which is really cool. I do like these.
So good.
Very good.
Oh, that one's cute.
Which one? Which one?
Inspirational. Oh.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
That's really cute.
It is great, this.
Meltdown.
There's just it's just so many, because I'm like thinking it's going to end, and of course it's not. Oh my goodness, piercing strike! No!
Pickpocket. Oh. I like the pyromaniac.
Pyromania, yes.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. They definitely.
Layer. That one's good.
Smooth talker.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Salesman.
That's
so perfect.
What's that saying? Apologies to anybody who happens to sell cars for a living.
Oh my god, it never ends.
Yeah, there's just so many great ones there.
So good.
Which is absolutely brilliant. Okay. We have our derived statistics, our carrying weight and damage resistance, our health points. And then we choose our starting equipment depending on what origin we've gone for. I like all of these, the different kinds of Mr. Handy. Miss Nanny, Mr. Farmhand, Mr. Gutsy, Mr. Handy, Nurse Handy. That's quite cool. And then we have our Super Mutants and our Vault Dwellers and our Wastelanders. And we can have some personal trinkets. Because yes, you never know, loaded casino dice. They could come in handy. And then we come to equipment. And as I alluded to, this is a big part of the Fallout experience, and so much so in the core book here. because we're just going to go through so many weapons, so many charts. So it's going through all the different types of weapons you can have, the different qualities that each have, different types of ammunition. Because again, picking up ammo is a big part in the game. We have our small guns. And whereas in the starter set it's just a chart, in this now it breaks down into all the weapons and all the mods that the weapons can actually have. So you can pick up your gun and then start modding it with different elements that will improve upon that one weapon. I think this is great, you know. So if you definitely like, if you like your guns, this is the game for you. This is awesome. And then all the different mods. Wow. So I don't know if you feel the same, but going through this now, having gone through the starter set first, this doesn't feel too daunting because we kind of have a reasonable understanding of what we're looking at, don't we?
No, it feels much less intimidating, and it feels more like, okay, I don't need to spend a whole bunch of time reading this. I can jump to these sections that I haven't looked at yet, and suddenly the book is much smaller.
Yes, yeah. Here we go. The Fat Man. Ammunition mini nuke. Is the M42 nuclear catapult is a shoulder-fired infantry support weapon that launches compact tactical nuclear warheads. Mini nukes, each about the size of a football. Yep, because the world isn't messed up enough already.
What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly, yes. Gatling lasers, heavy incinerators, miniguns. I mean, this is just awesome. Missile launchers. We have all the melee weapons. Do we have a got rolling pin? A boxing glove? No, you still don't have a frying pan. Sorry.
Ah, man. Come on.
We got the Ripper and we got the shish kebab. Baseball bat. I mean, it's you know, there is so much.
Somebody make me a frying pan for this game.
I'm sure somebody must have done so.
Because even like giving it like what the time period feel is, you gotta have cast iron. They survive everything.
That's it. Yes. Yeah, cast iron and cockroaches, the two things that survive nuclear war.
Exactly.
Again, all these clothing. Oh, here we go.
So,
Casual hats.
Having played the video game, how much of the video game influence do you see in this?
It feels as if it's 95%. It's you know, that's the great thing about the video game, is that it features so much stuff, and it is of course a action role-playing game in at its heart. So it's already there. They have essentially just taken all that information and put it with the 2D20 system. So all of this stuff that you're reading, yeah, it's there as part of a chart, a list of items that you potentially will have picked up from a character that you killed. Now, of course, they can give you so much more detail and, you know, show you some of the items. It's, you know, if you talk about how close this tabletop game is to the the video game or the TV program or the movie, this is pretty damn close. Not far off at all. Yeah, I think if you are a fan of Fallout, this is just a natural progression of the story for you. Slightly different, obviously it's a different setting, and that you got have your friends around and you're doing it pen and paper, but essentially everything you've just been doing on a video game you can do in this. It's such an authentic recreation, which is brilliant.
See, that's really cool to me, because you get things like that where you have for example, the movie adaptations of books.
Yeah.
And usually somebody is disappointed over one or the other, whether you saw the movie first or you read the books first. But so it made me wonder how close and how well they adapted the game into this RPG. And I get, from people who are such big fans of it, having it done so well is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I played mainly during the Fallout 3 era, so I'm probably a little bit out of date, but still I can see a lot of the things that were in that game are here. And then, of course, there'll be more enhancements for what were in the newer games, because I think there was Fallout 4, and then I think it went into, is it Fallout 76, which is the massively online version of the game? So I can imagine all of that is in here as well. But yeah, this is just, again, I think this is an area where MODIPHIUS do absolutely fantastic. They get these licenses of very popular IPs, so Fallout. We did John Carter last week. We're going to be doing Dune coming up. So big books, big video games, and they do an amazing job of incorporating all the information, all the lore into this game world. It's really, really well done.
It's so cool, and I will never get over just the detail they do. Like, even in the things that aren't a scene depiction, just the guns, the artwork that shows them. It's so good. It blows my mind.
But I think that they're in a very fortunate position, because where this is kind of unique is that all the art assets are already available, because you have, would it be 10 years since Fallout 3, something like that? So 10 years worth of video games and all the materials that have to be created for those video games. Well, they can just say, hey, we need to have a image of this particular gun, and it's a developer, yep, sure, there you go, there's the gun image. So they just have to do a little bit of text around it.
But not necessarily, because the asset would be slightly different, differently portrayed than the actual picture that they're putting there. So it's not just like, here, we're going to drop this asset. You're going to have to sharpen it up. Maybe they've added a bit more detail that you can't necessarily see as great on the asset itself. Yeah,
no, that's fair point. I do believe that they have worked very closely with Bethesda on creating.
Oh, I'm sure.
Game. I mean, we're just looking here. We're in equipment and Instamash and Mile-Lurk egg omelette, mongrel dog meat, mole rat meat. I mean, this is just food. And there's so much of it. Potato crisps, rad scorpion steak, which of course all of this is part of the game. Squirrel on a stick, because who doesn't like a nice squirrel on a stick? It's so good.
I like that in this new future that squirrels have survived.
Yes.
like a top dwelling land animal versus the reptile. That's what we're going with. Yeah, we're gonna go with squirrels.
I mean, it's, oh my goodness.
That relies on trees and stuff.
Yeah,
That's what survives.
exactly. Yeah. Again, there's just so much. I like how we're having all of the magazine placements throughout the book here. We're getting all the different covers here. Astoundingly awesome tales at $29. Unbelievable. Oh, here we go. Grognak, the Barbarian. And the latest issue of Guns and Bullets. I mean, it's just, there's just so much. So much. Oh, here we go. The Wasteland Survival Guide.
Oh, it's so cool. Oh.
Oh, here we go. This is awesome. Mr. Handy, man's best friend reinvented. So that, I mean, that was a massive chapter of all the different types of equipment that can be found in the Wastelands. There's so much of it. Survival. Again, this is something that wasn't featured heavily in the starter guide, but fatigue and hunger and thirst, sleep, exposure and disease, because of course we are in a nuclear wasteland. And then scavenging, where you would go to get items. And then the different inhabitants that you may encounter. Obstacles and hazards. I remember some of the best places. I remember in part of the Fallout 3, you end up going down into the old subway system and you find a load of essentially sort of vampire-ish creatures. And that was a terrifying couple of days of exploring this entire subway network. It was so well depicted in the game. It's fantastic. You see, going through this, I want to go and play Fallout 4 now. And then crafting. Yes, crafting a big part of the game. So workbenches and recipe lists, making repairs to your equipment and weapons. There is just so much, and again, more charts, more tables, and then cooking stations because you might want to cook up some food. And then, of course, we've got to have an advert for Nuka-Cola. Power armor systems, robot workbenches. There's just so much.
I love that even with how everything like changes and that with this world, it's a Coca-Cola bottle. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's just it. They were like, no, we're gonna keep the same look, that same nostalgia.
Well, well, it is that 1950s look, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is one of the big areas in the book which is different, which is now going through all of the lore of the Wasteland, and there is various factions. So the corporations of pre-war America. And this basically just tells you everything. If you wasn't familiar with the background, this is just a fascinating read. Ooh, too far. different manufacturers. And how you might use any of these into your games. So, Nuka Corporation. I think actually one of the missions in Fallout was actually going to the Nuka Corporation headquarters. And that's where you could pick up this very rare bottle of Nuka-Cola. But you're going around some old office.
That's so cool.
You know, there is just so much. So that's all the corporations, and then we get to Vault-Tec. So typically this is who you play in the games. You're somebody who has come out of the vault, having survived the Holocaust. So here you go, on October 23rd, 2077, air raid sirens called survivors to their vaults. So, yeah. And then in 2091, the all clear signal rang. Reopening up into a new world. So there are different vaults. Vault 75, Vault 81, Vault 95, Vault 111. Actually, I can't remember now which vault is in...
Chat, which is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us.
Which is the vault in Fallout 3? It'll be one of these. Again, there's some great... I don't want to ruin any of the stories, because there's some great stories within, even within the video game. And there's no reason why, as a games master, you couldn't actually grab some of those stories and incorporate them into the role-playing game world. That would be quite good fun.
That would be really interesting, especially if you had a group that was like really familiar with it. I think it could go over really, really well.
That's it, Roger. Vault 101, of course it is. So... yeah, okay. So they've not included it as part of this. Interesting. So maybe this is, as you say, this is Fallout 4 primarily. Yes, no, I totally agree. And I think what you would have to do is maybe you would take the general idea of that particular story or that mission and then twist it somewhat so that it's familiar, but then it's not quite what they experienced in the game. But also, there is an element of, certainly with maybe some of the missions in the older Fallout games, is that unless someone's got a near photographic memory, they'll have an idea of what was cool about that mission, but won't quite remember all the details. So you could still have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, for sure.
Commonwealth. There is just, it's so much information. But the good thing about this is it's all of a consistent font size. So I'm not struggling to read any of this. Not saying anything, but this is easy to read, which is important, isn't it? So this is basically telling you all about all of the areas that you could potentially visit, and giving you lots of little info and giving you suggestions of how you might want to incorporate it into your games. I mean, wow, there's just so much. And it essentially keeps on going. I'll quickly jump ahead just quickly, well, we're running out of time a little bit, but we'll just jump ahead to chapter 10. And the denizens of the wasteland. So we get an idea of some of the creatures that we might meet. There's various creatures and characters. And again, these, anyone who's played the games, they will instantly recognize all of these. So, blood bug. And the bloat fly. A mutated cow. Because two heads are better than one. A death claw. Brutal creatures. Probably a slightly rabid dog.
I'm not sure that's a dog.
It says it's a dog. It's a mongrel dog. Yeah, there's something wrong with its face. Mirelurks, which you end up killing a whole load of those. And a Mirelurk queen. And then mole rats. And mutant hounds. It's just great. Rat scorpions. And then we got have I skipped a page? There we go. Mutated humanoids, ghouls. And then glowing ones. We got robots, the Assaultron, the iBot, Mr. Handies, and Protectron. My name is Protectron. These are awesome, and then we get to Super Mutants. Oh, too far. Again, this is all brilliant stuff. And then robotic synths. But it's just so much material. Keep flicking through various machine gun turrets, Brotherhoods of Steel, onto raiders and raider psychos. Wastelanders. There's just so much, so much. I'm just gonna and then we finally get to a mission at the end, which we will not ruin, and we'll probably bring it to a close at that point. There is a lot of material here, as we've said numerous times. If you're a fan of the given subject, picking up the role-playing game, you're going to thoroughly enjoy yourself, because you can really geek out on all this information, all just collated in one book. But hopefully you're inspired then to actually have a go and learn how to play the game and enjoy it in its own right. Is this a game you think you would have a go of?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I would absolutely. I'd be like, I would take it to my house and be like, please run this game for me.
Yeah. I think, again, it's always helpful if you have an understanding of the game world. And that's the great thing about various sort of movies and books and video games that are getting made into roleplay games, is that we kind of already have a good understanding, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, Modiphius make the Star Trek role-playing game as well, so you know, who doesn't know what Star Trek is, even just on a basic level? And that being the case, most of the work of trying to put yourself in that situation is already done. If you can imagine yourself in that setting, you're already halfway there to a great gaming experience, aren't you?
Absolutely. Like that is half of it, is feeling, because at least for me, if I don't understand it, I'm not going to enjoy it. So having at least someone who does and can like, I can feed off of their excitement and their knowledge, it just makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Right, okay then. I think we will wrap that up. I think that these are two amazing set and core rules there. So any Fallout fan should definitely go and check them out. Okay, well, thank you, Mystical, for joining me this evening, taking a look at Fallout. I believe you're going to join us tomorrow night, yes? We're going to be doing the gaming stream slightly earlier. So it's tomorrow evening from 7 o'clock. We're going to play a really fun game. Very much looking forward to sharing it with everybody tomorrow night. So, yeah, so I guess I will... well, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk again tomorrow.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, of course. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. So Rogue is asking, is that an hour earlier? No, it's going to be at the same time, 7 o'clock. GMT +1. It's just a day earlier, so as opposed to Thursday night, we are going to be playing tomorrow, Wednesday evening. Yes, we're going to be playing a really fun game. So it'll be myself and Mystical and Sarah. Looking forward to that. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we do have a game for the chat to get involved in, and oh my goodness, it's going to be hilarious. I cannot wait. It's one of those games that anything could happen, so that's something to stay tuned for in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening from 7 o'clock. But until then, bye for now.